Okay, so part 2 of this, let's see. So what I'm going to do now, have all these laid out. I know where they came from. I've written where they came from, except this one went over. Well, this one, yeah, I just drew a line up there. So now let's go ahead and solve it. So what I'm going to do is let's solve for time first. You can solve for final velocity first, but I'm going to solve for time first because to me it just seems easier. Now what you're going to first do, let's look at your equations, and I'm just going to pink highlight the ones that doesn't work with, or that I'm going to get rid of with this pink highlighter. So anyway, so first you want to find the one out of the three that does not have time. It doesn't have the variable you're looking for, so it's irrelevant, and that would be the middle one. So I'm not going to use that one. Now, see, it's not always this simple, but in this one, I'm going to look and see, oh, I'm missing this other thing. So the one of this other thing that I'm missing, if the equation has that in it, then I can't use it because I'll be missing too many variables, because you can kind of see that up here. So look, the one that has out of these two that are left, the one that has final velocity in it, can't use that one. All right, so now let's look at what we got. And remember, if you have 3 of the 5 variables, you can use the kinematic equations. So anyway, this last one, let's see. Well, acceleration, yeah, is negative g. Initial velocity is 0. That'll make life easy. So do we have this displacement, this h that we measured in the video? Well, if I do this, let me go ahead and erase this free fall. It's in the way. Hopefully you got that already. Okay, so if I do this, I'll look at it. Well, look, if I subtract initial minus final, remember, change in position, s is just your displacement, is just change in position, and that's x final position minus initial position. So if I do this, yeah, I have displacement. So that would be like, if I wanted to rewrite it, you do not have to rewrite this. I'm just doing this to show. Let's see, initial times time plus 1/2 at squared. Okay, so you don't have to really write that much, because I would have done here, go ahead and zero that out. I say do the Ghostbuster no smoking sign to remember velocity initial and time go away. It's also just a sign to you if you go back and look at your work that, hey, I got rid of that. And I'm going to start plugging in. So look, this s is negative h. All right, and then if you notice this 1/2 at squared, it's going to be 1/2. And remember, g is negative, so I just put the negative out front because I'm multiplying here. All right, so you have that, and now I can just solve it for time. Now, let me rewrite this another way, because I noticed some of you having a little bit of difficulty with the 1/2. Or h equals g t squared over 2. See, because if you break something in half, then you divide it by 2. Also, notice I got rid of the negative signs. So let's use this one. It's a little bit easier to solve. I'm just going to keep switching colors here. Okay, so I want to get rid of the 2 first. Notice there's no add, subtract, or anything. See how they're just written next to each other? That means that they are multiplied. I'm not putting a dot or an X. That means something else. They're just, don't need parentheses here. They're just written next to each other. So what I'm going to do, remember, bottom is divide, denominator, top's numerator, and it's multiply. So I'm going to multiply this 2 on this side. Scratch it out. 2 on this. That's cool. So you get, and you don't have to write every step. I'm just doing it for the video. You get 2h equals gt squared. Now remember, we're solving for time, so I'm going to divide both by g. And I am running out of room, so I'm just going to erase like I do on the board. That gives me 2h over g equals t squared. Now I know a few of you are having a little bit of trouble remembering this. Remember, anytime you have an exponent or square especially, you get rid of it how you get rid of weeds. You pull them up by the root, or the square root. So let's square root this, and notice this is square root. It's going to go all the way to the bottom. Again, I'm going to erase, get rid of the radical sign, get rid of the 2, and so that's my equation for time. Another way you could write this, it'll mean exactly the same thing, would be 2h over square root of g. If that's easier for you to write things that way, that works too. They are all the same, but this is what you would use for time. So now you have time. I'm going to write it like this one. erase this. So that's what you would use for time. And it should be pretty easy for you now to solve for final velocity using this step, and I would expect to see that. If you need to leave time as t, that's okay, but I'd prefer you attempt to plug this in. But since we're going to be using a spreadsheet, that is technically okay.